Welcome to the Boob Border YouTube channel. My name is Kylie and this is the first episode of the 10-minute meal mini-series. I wanted to challenge myself to make a vegan, gluten-free dinner in just 10 minutes. This is definitely out of my comfort zone because I usually spend about 45 minutes to an hour making dinner. But I wanted to show that you can make delicious, vegan, gluten-free meals in a really short amount of time. To keep everything really fair, I've given myself a couple of rules. I'm allowing myself to preheat the oven, preheat my pan or boil the kettle beforehand, and take everything that I need out the fridge or out of the pantry, but I'm not allowed to use anything pre-prepared or use anything that I've prepped beforehand. In this first episode, I'm going to make a brown rice vermicelli noodle salad bowl. So brown rice vermicelli noodles are perfect for this kind of thing. They're really easy to cook, and I'm going to serve it with a little bit of fried tofu and a nice dressing. So here we go. Okay, I'm just about to set a timer. I'm going to put 10 minutes on my watch, and then you'll notice in the right hand corner a little timer will come up. I'm just getting some sesame oil out of the cupboard. I kind of messed up in this first episode and I didn't get everything I needed out of the fridge and the pantry, so it is very much so in real time. I have a little bit of tofu here. This is about 200 grams. And I'm going to add the oil to the pan. It's very, very hot. Like I said, I've preheated the pan. You'll see the oil starts to smoke a little bit. And then I'm going to cut the tofu up. So I'm going to do some strips. And that's actually a really great little tip. If you have a really big block of tofu and you're not going to use it all, you can place it in a container with some water and then just change the water every day, and that will keep it really nice and fresh. So I'm just adding the tofu to the pan, and you can see the pan's really, really hot because the oil's splattering onto the burner beside it. And I'm going to sort of arrange these so that they're somewhat well spaced apart. Give it a little bit of a shake to make sure that it doesn't stick too much. And then I'm going to add some salt. So you need to add a generous amount of salt to tofu because it is very, very bland. And I'm going to add about 3 pinches of flaky salt. So it's a little bit less concentrated than sea salt. And then I'm going to let that fry for about 4 to 5 minutes on each side. Okay, I've just got some veg out the fridge. I've got a carrot there, cucumber, and a lettuce. So it literally took me about a minute to get this stuff out of the fridge. And we've just jumped forward a little bit in time so you don't have to watch that really boring bit. I'm going to cut this julienne style. You could use a mandolin to cut your carrots as well, but basically I'm just cutting a thin matchstick shape. And then I'm going to start to turn the tofu. So my advice with tofu is if you notice that it's sticking to the pan and not turning easily, it probably needs to cook a little bit longer. So you can see I'm sort of forcing some of my tofu. I'm panicking a little bit because I only have 10 minutes. But I promise that if you leave your tofu for an extra minute or so, they will eventually turn. It's just a sign that they need to cook for a little bit longer. I've just put the brown rice vermicelli noodles in this glass bowl, and I'm going to completely submerge them in some boiling water. They literally need like 2 minutes in this hot water before they're cooked. So I'm just going to let them hang out in there while I prep the rest of the meal. And yeah, it should just be a couple minutes before I drain them. And then I'm going to start to cut the cucumber. So I'm going to do the same cut as the carrots. I'm going to do a julienne or a thin matchstick. And just if you're wondering, all my veg has been washed. I like to let it hang out in a sink full of cold water with a little bit of apple cider vinegar after I brought it home. And that just helps to make sure the veg is like really nice and clean and it's good to go when I'm ready to cook. And then I'm just going to take 4 or 5 leaves of this butter lettuce, and I'm going to cut it in half, stack them on top of each other, and then start to shred the lettuce. And then all my veg is ready to go. My tofu is also ready to go. I've cooked it on both sides. It's really beautiful and golden. And just as a warning, I don't necessarily recommend touching the tofu straight out of the pan. I just have fingers of steel, so you might want to use a tongs instead. The noodles are ready to be drained now. I'm just going to pour them out into a sieve. To check to see if they're cooked, you can taste one. And then give them a rinse under some cold water just to completely completely stop the cooking process. I'm going to let it sit in that bowl just to drain really well. And then I'm ready to make the dressing. I'm going to use tamari, which is a gluten-free soy sauce, some brown rice vinegar, and some sesame oil. So I'm doing 1 tablespoon of each of those. And when I wrote up the recipe, I actually made a few adjustments to the sauce. So this is a really delicious, quick and easy sauce, but I sort of wanted a few more flavors. So I added some coconut aminos and a little bit of lime, but that is of course completely optional. And a jar is a really nice way to mix up dressing because you can put the lid on and shake it. So I think that's pretty much time. Yeah, it's 10 minutes on the right hand side there. So everything is ready, it just needs to be assembled and put into bowls. I also wanted to do some spring onion and some coriander with this, but I completely forgot in the moment. That would be really quick and easy for you to prep, so I've included it in the recipe on my website, as well as the option to add a little bit of avocado, as well as some crushed peanuts, or you could even put some sesame seeds on there as well, and I think that would be super delish. Alright, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry if the footage was a little bit rough and ready. We were trying to keep it as authentic as possible, and I was feeling so nervous for some reason, which is a little bit silly because literally nothing is at stake here. But if you want the recipe, it will be linked below. I'll write it out. This is a super quick, easy recipe. I would absolutely love to hear from you if you try this recipe. Please take a pic, tag us on Instagram, and I'll see you in the next episode.